Of the 65 videos I've made while my wife and I have been restoring this 1812 property called Bon Air, this is probably the most difficult video that I've had to record. And I want to explain to you why. My wife and I owned a very successful online business for 20-some years. And at the end of 2020, actually December 31st, we sold the business. But we didn't sell the business for enough to be able to retire on and live on a beach, drinking margaritas. We had some money in IRAs and mutual funds and that sort of thing. And we knew that we had enough money to last us probably about 5 or 6 years. Okay, so it gave us 5 or 6 years to be able to do something new. We just got sick and tired of running our online business. It started out to where it was a hands-on business. It was power tool repair, but it's sort of like typewriter repair. It just, eventually, people did not want to get their tools fixed. So I started selling some parts online, and that was a great thing. Brought in the money, but I was not interacting with customers anymore. And I was living behind a computer screen, working with databases for millions of parts and getting them sold and shipped all across the United States. And after 15 years of that, I said, I've had it. I got to stop. This is not what I want to do the rest of my life. And when you're getting older and you're in your 60s, it is time to reevaluate. Now, some of you guys, you've had a career, you can retire comfortably, but when you're self-employed, you're putting money back into the company. So your ability to grow your own wealth through retirement is very challenged. So I said, no, I've got to do something. We have to do something that feeds our souls. We can't continue to do this. Now, the money was good. We lived in a beautiful historic home in Norfolk. We got to travel, but to be honest with you, it was like running an adult daycare. It was just really difficult with people calling out sick all the time, and the competition, SEO competition, selling online, that sort of thing. It was very difficult. But it did provide a very nice living for us. But we decided to give it all up and go for broke. And I don't regret that. We realized that we would not be able to stay in our beautiful historic home in the Ghent section of Norfolk. We would have to sell it. The house payment was pretty high, so we were going to downsize. So we loved the central part of Virginia, the mountains and that sort of thing, because we used to live in Estes Park, Colorado for about 4 years. I said, well, you know, we like historic homes. Maybe we can find an old historic home that has some property. And we looked and looked and looked and looked. Well, we found a place in central Virginia, in the middle of nowhere, called Bon Air. It was built by a contemporary of Thomas Jefferson, one of the presidents of the United States. Most of you know who Thomas Jefferson is. So it was really cool. And it had a 3-bedroom house, cottage, that we totally restored that was on the property. But to back up, so we went back and forth on whether or not we wanted to do this. My wife's like, no, I can't do it. And I was like, yes, we can. And then later on, I was like, no, I can't do it. And it was being sold as is because the house and the cottage were in such poor shape. We came up with a price that we thought would cover all the repairs that we were going to have to do. We got a call saying, hey, they've accepted your offer. So we, long story, came back. And the end of September, almost 2 years ago, we bought Bon Air. We were given the keys. We were all excited. Now, my parents, they're currently 91 and 94. At the time, they were living in the Outer Banks, and they loved it. They had a community there. But we went to visit them one day. We said, well, we bought this place called Bon Air. Needs a lot of work, but there's a 3-bedroom cottage on it, about 100 yards away from our house. And you guys could sell your house and move in it. We were just kidding. We'd eventually rent the cottage out because we knew my parents were in love with the Outer Banks and their friends. My dad's a golfer, and he has a golf course that he just went to every day. My parents went, okay. My wife and I looked at each other. We went, well, we were kind of just kidding, but, well, they weren't kidding. At their age, they were like, all of our friends have either passed or they have moved to be with their kids, and we'll take you up on it. So sight unseen, they put their house up for sale, sold it quickly, and within 30 days, they were heading our way. Well, I love my parents, but for 30 days, they lived with us because my wife and I did a mad scramble to totally gut the cottage, which I'll put a link in the description for that video. But we got it ready for them, and they moved in. So we have my 91, 94-year-old parents who are living in the cottage, but we got a loan, put down 20%, but we were going to pay for all the repairs out of pocket. We had to cash in our stocks, mutual funds, a good amount of that. And post-COVID, if the rest of you remember, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, they tanked. We took a 25 to 30% hit when we cashed in our stocks. Oh, let's back up. When we sold the business, the IRS took around 24% of the proceeds of the sale of our business. That is a lot of cash when you've worked 20-some years to build a business, and they take $250,000 of your proceeds. Doesn't feel fair. We get to the property, we found out that the main house, the septic system, was pretty much non-existent. There was a pipe run into an old septic tank that the cover wasn't even there. You would walk right into it. Yeah, that's a mind picture you don't want to think about. And the water would just go in the field. So it had no septic system. So we had to put in a whole new septic system for the main house. So that was one thing. The water was not drinkable. So we had to run a new line all the way down to the cistern, which is a quarter mile away. And we had to put in multiple filtering systems because it kept testing with E. coli and coliform. And my parents in their advanced years, that's not a good thing, nor is it a good thing for us. So we got all that put in. The roof, the slate roof, I figured that $7,500 should take care of the repairs. Nope. And the slate repair guys said, we're really gonna need to take off all these slates and do it all over again. And I said, well, how much is that gonna be? He says, well, and he gave us the number. I went, holy, nope, can't do that. So my $7,500 estimate was out the window. He said, okay, we can put on synthetic slate. And we looked at the synthetic slate, and it is awesome looking slate. It looks like real nice Buckingham slate. But that's gonna cost $45,000 for synthetic slate. Guess what? You can't have a farm and restore a 3-story house, a unless you have equipment. We rented a lift for the roofing guys for a month. That was $5,000 post-COVID prices. And the rental company came back and said, hey, we can sell you a used lift. And I said, with all the painting and scraping that we have to do, I can't imagine setting up scaffolding. So we bought a used lift, another $45,000. Okay, we need a tractor with four-wheel drive for the property. And we bought a nice New Holland tractor, and we bought a smaller one with a what they call a belly mower for my wife to be able to mow and do stuff around the house. Well, that was all good and everything, but the New Holland tractor, I didn't know it was a turbo diesel. One day, it's blowing smoke out the exhaust. And I ran it to cut the grass. Towards the end of the day, I hear a knock, 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 knock. And I've had enough vehicles to know that that knock, knock is rod slap in the engine. And sure enough, what had happened was, this was a turbo diesel. Turbo diesels, when the turbo hose goes, it just starts drinking oil and burning it all up. I did not know that. It sucked all the oil up from the sump and basically engine shot. So we ended up buying a much better Kubota tractor. But that's cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. So let's fast forward. Okay, I started a spreadsheet about 9 months ago of the total amount of cash that we had left. But we're still running about a $5,000 per month loss. And I'm adding all the money, all the figures up. We don't have car payments. We don't have credit card payments that we don't pay off every month. We don't have memberships to country clubs because there are no country clubs around here. So it's just basic living expenses. And we're negative $5,000 after all that. As all of you know, it just costs a lot to live nowadays. And we don't go out to eat, and we don't go on vacay or holiday, as they say in the UK. We just work here at Bonaire, restoring the property 6 days a week. So I've been doing the countdown. And it's been coming down, coming down, and coming down. And this is where we are now. We have 2 months of living expenses left. We're gonna take one of those months, and I'm converting one of the rooms in the basement that has a bathroom attached to it into an Airbnb because it has a walkout entrance in the back. And so we're gonna be able to get some money, we're hoping, off that. But that's not gonna make up $5,000 per month. The tough thing is, my parents are 91 and 94. They do not want to move again. This needed to be their forever last place. And if we can't come up with some means of an income, we're going to have to sell Bonaire. And my parents are going to have to move, probably to Nashville, to live in a bedroom with my brother there, which means they'll have to get rid of all their furniture. Where will we move? We live 1 hour from Charlottesville, 1 hour from Lynchburg. We live in Nelson County, in a little town called Wingina by Yogaville. That's actually a place called Yogaville. And I don't know how long it would take to sell it. And we don't really want to sell it. We had a dream for this place. We wanted it to be a place that people could come to and they'd be able to enjoy the nature trail that I'm walking on and just the beautiful scenery. And now, this is the picture from our front door here. We are close to wineries. But I don't want my parents to move. I don't want to move again. We have so many dreams for this place. It would be great if we could get more subscribers and more people that would watch our journey. I'm 68. I feel like I'm 30 in my head. I've made some decisions that probably a 30-year-old would make. But I don't believe in just, well, let's buy a little house in Florida and move there and the grandkids could come and visit us every now and then. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. Or I'm gonna just stay here and I'm gonna go play golf and then bounce the grandbabies on my knee. I'm not that kind of guy. I believe that you should continue to dream, live, and have dreams have plans for the future. And that isn't, where are you going to vacation? You're going to go to Arizona? You're going to be a snowbird? No, that's not what I want to do. So I'm challenging the rest of you who are sitting there, cushy, who are bouncing the grandbabies on your knee and saying, okay, I'm glad I didn't do what this idiot couple did. They spent all their money post-COVID, cashed it in, 30% loss, and now they're stuck. Well, guess what? I'd rather be stuck and have tried to dream and to live than just to exist on a pension. I'm not a happy camper today. And stay tuned to see what happens next.